This photograph is more than 100 years old. The scene clearly shows signs of a violent struggle. It is believed that the woman in the image had been murdered, possibly during a robbery. But the most disturbing detail is the strange mist rising from her body. The shape almost resembles a human form, as if something was leaving the body at the moment the photograph was taken. A chilling image frozen in time. Could it be the moment a soul departed? The author admits that many people might not believe his story. A few days earlier, around midnight, he had been walking to a nearby store. The neighborhood is usually quiet at that hour, but that night felt different. Suddenly, he had the overwhelming feeling that someone was watching him. The fear became so strong that he pulled out his phone and started recording. At the time, he noticed nothing unusual. But later, while reviewing the footage, a figure appeared in the frame. It looked vaguely human, extremely thin and barely visible, as if it existed only halfway in the world. The feeling of someone standing just inches away suddenly made terrifying sense. What was following him that night? A resident of Southern California recalls that about 15 years ago her daughter took this photograph. At that time, the young girl often said that another girl was watching her, a girl who seemed to be asking for help. Strange noises were constantly heard throughout the house. Even now, years later, the woman still cannot explain what happened during that time or why they stayed in that house for so long. Who was the girl her daughter claimed to see? One evening, the manager of a heavily secured facility noticed something disturbing. In a window near a doorway, a ghostly form appeared to manifest, faint but unmistakable. Overcome with fear, he quickly took a photograph. Later, he shared the image on social media, where it immediately sparked intense debate. Some viewers believe the photo clearly shows something supernatural. Others insist it is nothing more than light reflection. One thing is certain, the experience left the manager deeply shaken and unable to forget what he saw. What do you think appeared in the window? Share your opinion. Steph Bailey shared a photograph titled, "The Staircase in My Grandmother and Uncle's Old House." The image was taken by her uncle inside that same home. When her younger cousin was just a baby, he would often crawl to the bottom of the staircase. He showed unusual curiosity and would appear excited, as if interacting with someone unseen. Wanting to capture the moment, her uncle took a photo. When the image was reviewed later, something unexpected appeared, a vague figure on the stairs, resembling the outline of a child. What makes the photo even more unsettling is family history. Steph's grandmother once lost a child while living in that house. For years, the staircase had always made Steph feel uneasy. After seeing the photograph, that feeling only grew stronger. Could the figure be a spirit from the past? The young woman said this photo was taken at an amusement park in Ohio during a ride on a terrifying roller coaster. At first, everything seemed normal, but when she later looked at the photo, it appeared she was not alone. Behind her, a disturbing face can be seen, one that did not belong to any of her friends riding with her. According to the woman, this was not imagination or fear playing tricks. She believes that someone, or something, was truly there with her. Who do you think appeared behind her? Late one night, around 2:45 a.m., a man returned home after being involved in a crash where he had wrecked his truck. A photograph of the damaged vehicle was taken that night. At first glance, nothing seemed unusual about the image. It simply showed the truck after the accident. The next evening, the man sent the photo to a friend. That's when something strange was noticed. Attention quickly turned to the passenger seat. When the image was zoomed in, the faint outline of a face could be seen inside the vehicle. Next to it, a shape resembling a hand appeared to be gripping something that looked like a revolver. The man is certain that there was no snow, wind, or debris that night that could have created such a shape. Now the photograph feels less like a random accident and more like a disturbing reminder. A reminder that perhaps something else came back with him that night. What do you see in the passenger seat? The owner of this series of photographs explained that a friend had sent them to him. According to the story, the images show a patient participating in an overnight sleep study. The clinic where the research took place remains unknown. The patient was under constant video monitoring so doctors could carefully study his sleep patterns. But something unusual appeared in the images. A strange anomaly can be seen in the room. At first it seems to stand near the bed, almost as if observing the sleeping patient. Then, in the following frames, the shape appears to move closer. Eventually, it looks as though the dark shape merges with the patient's body. The person who received the photos admitted that the images left him completely confused. What exactly entered the room that night? In 2002, a mother took a photo of her young daughter inside their home. At the moment the picture was taken, the girl's father was holding her hand. No one else was inside the house. But later, when the family looked at the photograph, they noticed something chilling. In the upper right corner of the image, a faint ghostly figure appears. The family eventually wondered if it could be the spirit of the man who originally built the house and had lived there for most of his life. However, they never tried to confirm it. After seeing the strange silhouette appearing so close to their daughter in the photograph, the family made a quick decision. They put the house up for sale and moved away soon after. Who, or what, was standing in the room with them? The owner of this photo said it was taken in October 2005 during a tour of the famous Winchester house. The image was captured in a garden that was believed to have been one of Sarah Winchester's favorite places, a part of the estate she personally cared for. One unusual detail stands out in the photograph. In the upper right corner, a rainbow-like light effect appears. Normally, such an effect would be caused by moisture in the air. But that day there was no rain, no fog, and no visible water in the environment. The strange glow remains unexplained. Was it simply a camera artifact, or something far more mysterious connected to the house's history? At first glance, it looks like an ordinary photo of a couple, but careful viewers noticed something disturbing. In the background, behind their backs, a distorted face emerges. Its mouth is wide open in a silent scream, and its expression seems filled with pain or rage. The image spread quickly across the internet, sparking heated debate. Some believe it is nothing more than light and shadow. Others are convinced it is something otherworldly that accidentally slipped into the frame. What do you think was captured in this photo? This photo was taken several years ago, around 3 in the morning. A man was sitting alone in his living room, quietly chatting online. The house was silent. No one else was home. Almost absent-mindedly, he took a photo. At the time, he didn't think much of it. The next day, when the image was opened and examined more carefully, something unsettling appeared. Behind him, in the background, it clearly looked as if someone was sitting there. But at that moment, the room had been completely empty. If no one was there, then who was behind him? In Thailand, in the city of Dao, reporters and investigators were stunned by a photograph taken at the scene of a murder. In the image, many people believe they can see something extraordinary. What appears to be a faint human form seems to be rising from the victim's body. A thin, pale strand seems to connect the shape to the body below, as if something is slowly separating from it. Investigators later admitted that in all their years of working with crime scenes and deaths, they had never encountered anything like this. The photograph quickly spread through the village. Many residents began to believe it truly captured the moment a spirit was leaving the body. Was it an illusion, or something captured at the exact moment between life and death? According to the author, his mother moved into an old house several years ago. The previous owner had been an elderly school teacher who had passed away. Soon after moving in, strange things began to happen. Whenever dogs were brought into the house, they would freeze at a specific spot, the exact place shown in the photograph, and begin barking uncontrollably. Objects sometimes seemed to change position on their own. Months later, after a cat appeared in the house, the strange activity seemed to increase. When the homeowner left for vacation, a security camera was installed. That camera eventually captured the photograph that still has no explanation. What exactly was moving inside that house? The owner of this photograph shared a strange story connected to it. The picture was taken on August 9, 2011, during a nighttime Native American powwow. It was around 3 in the morning. When the photo was taken, no one had been standing behind the couple in the frame. Later, when they looked at the image, they noticed a mysterious figure behind them, a shape that seemed to appear from nowhere. According to cultural beliefs, powwows are sacred gatherings where ancestral spirits are believed to sometimes walk among the living. Because of this, the photographer believes the image may have captured a spirit who came to witness the dance. Was it just coincidence, or something far older watching from the shadows? Something strange occurred in a restaurant, something that puzzled even the most skeptical witnesses. A friend took a photograph, and when it was reviewed later, a disturbing female figure appeared at the bar counter. At first glance, it looked like a blur or someone walking past, but the shape lacks clarity and explanation. The man admitted that he and his family were deeply unsettled by the image, especially given the long-standing rumors of paranormal activity connected to the restaurant. Was this just a coincidence, or something watching from the background? What do you think appeared at the bar? The owner of this photograph took it during a guided tour of the Andrew Lowe House in Savannah, Georgia. Later, while reviewing and zooming in on the images, he noticed something unsettling reflected in a mirror. The outline of a woman's figure appeared faintly in the glass. He admitted that there were dull smudges on the mirror, but one shape stood out, too human, too specific. Although he described himself as a skeptic who avoids paranormal conclusions, the image struck him as strange enough to share. Was it just light and reflection, or something else entirely? This photograph was taken deep in a forest late at night. The darkness surrounding the scene feels almost alive. At first, nothing unusual can be seen in the image. But slowly, within the darkness, something disturbing begins to emerge. A strange shape appears, something that doesn't resemble any known animal or human form. It looks almost unnatural, as if it belongs to something from outside the world we know. The figure seems to blend into the darkness while still remaining present. It creates the chilling impression that something was watching from the forest that night. What could be hiding in that darkness? This photograph has no known backstory. It surfaced on social media and quickly became the subject of heated discussion. At first glance, it appears to show an ordinary kitchen. Nothing seems out of place. But if attention is drawn to the upper left corner of the image, something strange becomes noticeable. Many believe they see a face there, pale, faint, and ghostly. Is it truly a spectral presence, or is it simply the mind filling in the gaps? The lack of explanation makes the image even more disturbing. What do you see in that corner? The photograph shows a young girl named Mia sitting on an old tank in a park in Florissant, Missouri. Her mother, Angela, stands nearby, watching her daughter. It seems like an ordinary family outing in a park where children play every day. But the image is far from simple. Behind Angela, a blurred and frightened-looking male silhouette appears. He is staring directly at the camera, as if he has just noticed the child on the tank. His expression shows no anger, only surprise and quiet sorrow, as though he cannot believe children are laughing here again. His clothing resembles a military uniform, a jacket and camouflage pants. The image creates a chilling impression that this may be the ghost of a soldier who never returned home, accidentally captured in a family photograph. Who do you think this figure is? Write your thoughts below. The father of the family passed away 11 years ago after battling ALS. Sometime later, his cousin moved into the house. One night, while walking down a dark hallway, she suddenly felt that someone else was there. Frightened, she turned on her phone camera to light the way and search for the light switch. When the light came on, no one was nearby. But when she looked at her phone screen, she froze. Sitting clearly in an armchair was a man who looked exactly like the deceased homeowner. The first photo shows the father while he was alive. The second image was taken after his death, when no one else was in the house. Who do you think was sitting in that chair? This photograph frequently appears on websites dedicated to paranormal phenomena. It gained attention due to a mysterious semi-transparent figure visible behind a woman sitting in a cafe. The image was shared without any explanation. No name, no date, no location. This lack of information only increased interest and speculation among paranormal enthusiasts. According to some experts, the figure in the background could be a ghost that accidentally entered the frame. Some believe it may be the spirit of a former cafe visitor who died under tragic circumstances, now appearing near the window in photographs. Others insist it is merely an optical illusion or reflection. Yet even skeptics admit the image looks unusual and raises uncomfortable questions. Over time, the photo became one of the most discussed examples in collections of best ghost photographs. Despite the absence of confirmed details, it continues to unsettle viewers, a reminder that even ordinary places may hide something unexplained. What do you think was captured in this cafe? Write your thoughts below. This original photograph was taken deep inside the catacombs of Paris. At first glance, the viewer's attention is drawn to the strange dark shapes on the left side of the image. They resemble tall silhouettes, often described as shadow people. But the longer the photo is examined, the more unsettling details begin to appear. On the far right edge of the frame, additional shapes can be seen standing in the distance, partially hidden in the darkness. The image itself is slightly blurred, almost as if the camera captured a brief moment that didn't fully belong to the visible world. The photograph creates the uneasy feeling that something unseen may exist beyond what the eye can normally perceive, something silent, watching from the darkness beneath the city. Could the camera have captured something from another dimension? What do you think is hiding in this photo? Write in the comments. In an old photograph bathed in the soft, diffused light of the early 20th century, Grand Duchess Anastasia Nikolaevna Romanova stands before a mirror. She was the youngest daughter of Russia's last emperor, Nicholas II. According to historical records, she took the photograph herself, aiming the camera at the mirror. In a letter to her father dated October 28, 1914, she wrote, "I photographed myself while looking into the mirror. It was very difficult, my hands were shaking. But what draws the most attention is not her reflection. To the left of the young Duchess, in the blurred background, a shadowy figure can be seen, a shape some believe resembles a ghostly presence. Many consider it a dark omen." Anastasia's fate was tragic. Just a few years later, on the night of July 16 to 17, 1918, she was executed along with her entire family in the basement of a Yipatov house in Ekaterinburg. The photograph still sends chills, as if it holds more than a simple reflection. What do you think is visible beside her? Write your thoughts in the comments. A man arrived for what was supposed to be a routine maintenance job, checking wiring, nothing unusual. But when he looked up at the ceiling, he realized something was very wrong. After taking a photo, he noticed a barely visible figure hidden behind the ceiling panels. The shape is faint, almost blending into the darkness, yet it feels as if it is watching his every movement. The man insists that no one else was present in the room. What do you think was hiding above him? Troy Vance from New Carlisle, Ohio, was passionate about photography. In 2018, while photographing his Ford at sunset near a small lake, he unknowingly captured something terrifying. In one of the images, a pale gray human face appeared directly behind the windshield. It was not present in any other photos. There were no reflections, no objects nearby, and no explanation that could point to pareidolia. Later, while researching the area, Troy discovered old reports about a boy who drowned in that same lake during the 1990s. Since then, Troy has carried a spirit box, a device used to detect paranormal activity. Inside the car, he claims to have heard strange growls, whispers, and once even noticed a dark shadow moving near the vehicle. After that experience, Troy says his understanding of reality changed forever. What do you think appeared behind the glass? Rodrigo shared this photograph online, explaining that it was taken some time ago while he and his sister were visiting their grandmother's house. Their grandmother had passed away many years earlier, when their mother was still a teenager. In the photo, Rodrigo's sister is clearly visible, but something else appears in the window behind her. A shape, a presence, as if they were not alone in that house. It feels as though something was watching them from the glass. Rodrigo insists that no one else was there at the time. What do you think was looking through the window? Paranormal researcher Paul Rowland captured these mysterious images in the Regent Room of Plas Teg Manor, one of the most haunted locations in Wales. This is the place where the builder of the house, Sir John Trevor, who served King Charles I, died. Rowland used a camera equipped with ultraviolet blue pulsed light, which he claims sometimes harmonizes with spirits, briefly revealing their form. In the photos, a man's face appears for a moment before vanishing again. Sir John's story is tragic. After the mysterious death of his wife, he rode wildly through the gardens of Plas Teg, suffered a severe accident, and spent nearly a month dying in that very room. Rowland admits he felt a strong presence, even though he saw nothing with the naked eye. He believed spirits remain where tragedy occurred, to deliver a message or simply because they belong there, and only reveal themselves to certain people at specific moments. Do you believe this was Sir John's spirit? In this photo, 3 schoolgirls appear completely normal, smiling directly at the camera. At first, nothing seems unusual, but behind them, barely visible, a ghostly face begins to emerge, as if someone from another world was watching quietly from just beyond their backs. Neither the girls nor their parents could explain what it was. It was clearly not another student or a familiar figure. Something unnatural seemed to have forced its way into the frame that day. Was it an unexplained phenomenon, a trick of light, or a real ghost making itself known? What do you think hides behind them? An employee of the Kith Haven nursing home in Flint, Michigan, took this photograph while at work. According to her, the image captured real ghosts. She claims she witnessed the scene with her own eyes, a blurred silhouette of a man wearing a white shirt slowly pushing a wheelchair with another figure seated inside, possibly a woman. Both shapes appear hazy yet disturbingly realistic in the photo. Paranormal enthusiasts later discovered that on the same day, an elderly married couple passed away in that very nursing home. Some believe the figures in the image could be their souls, lingering between worlds, continuing their journey together even after death. What do you think was captured in this photo? This photograph was taken by a group of carpenters in Norway who were hired to restore a historic building. Only weeks later, unexplained events began to occur. Strange knocking sounds, disembodied voices, and other unsettling phenomena became so intense that the workers refused to continue working in the basement. After one particularly disturbing day, one of the carpenters took a series of photos of the corridor. When they reviewed the images, they noticed something resembling a white, human-shaped shadow. Terrified, the group left the site and swore never to return. Many believe what they captured was a real ghost. What do you think the white shape was? Waverly Hills Sanatorium has long been considered one of the most haunted locations in the world. The abandoned complex has appeared in countless paranormal shows, but recently, one person decided to visit it completely alone. This is what was captured in the photograph. Something appears to be descending the staircase. At the moment the picture was taken, no figure was visible to the human eye. Yet in the image, a shape clearly emerges, something that makes the blood run cold. It feels as though the walls of the sanatorium still remember footsteps and whispers of those who left this place long ago. What do you think was walking down those stairs? A man shared this photograph and explained that during a trip to Wembley, he stopped at a gas station along the A1 highway. All of his friends stepped out of the car, leaving him alone inside. At least, that is what he believed. When he later looked at the photo, a ghostly face appeared in the back seat behind him. To this day, he cannot explain who, or what, it was. What do you think was sitting behind him? This photograph has no recorded backstory. It was simply posted online, and immediately drew attention. People began discussing who or what was standing behind the woman. The image shows her standing near the shore. Behind her, in the dark water, late in the evening, a gray figure can be seen. The shape looks deeply unsettling, like a shadow from another world. Who it was remains unknown, and perhaps will remain that way forever. What do you think appeared in the water? This photograph was taken at the Huguenot Cemetery near St. Augustine Church in Florida, an area strictly closed to visitors. The photographer entered secretly. Among the dark gravestones, he noticed her, a little girl. At first, she appeared to be an ordinary figure, but something felt wrong. This place holds grim memories. During a yellow fever epidemic, hundreds of people were buried there. The photographer frequently visits the church and has previously captured strange orbs and light anomalies, but never anything like this. It felt as though the history of the cemetery itself had manifested in front of the lens. The girl does not seem to belong to the present, more like a shadow from the past, returning to be seen. What do you think this figure was? Share your opinion. A man recalled that when he was 10 years old, his father took a photograph of him. Only much later did they notice something disturbing. A strange face appeared behind him in the image, despite the fact that no one else was in the room. Even now, he cannot explain what it was. Sometimes, he admits, it feels as though something unseen has been watching him ever since, from that very photograph. What do you think appeared behind him that day? Write your thoughts in the comments. A married couple believes they captured something terrifying, possibly a demonic, ghostly face of a monk staring out from the basement of a former slaughterhouse, where priests were reportedly burned alive over 500 years ago. Last month, Tanya Copeman explored the village site in Mansfield, Nottinghamshire. Just before leaving, she felt an overwhelming urge to take several photos. She and her husband Jared were shocked when one image revealed a pale face emerging from the darkness, with bright white eyes. According to them, the room had been completely empty. Security cameras confirmed that only the couple had been inside the room. Many believe the image shows one of the priests who never left that place. What do you think was captured in the basement? At first glance, this photograph looks perfectly normal. A happy family smiles at the camera, a husband, wife, 3 children, and their loyal dog. Everything appears warm and ordinary, but a closer look reveals something disturbing. An arm is wrapped around the girl on the left. The question is simple: whose hand is it? No one is standing next to her, and ghosts rarely pose for family photos. The comments were divided. Some insisted the image had been edited and that the hand belonged to the mother. Others found no logical explanation at all. Looking at this photo, one question keeps returning. Was this just coincidence, a camera trick, or someone from the past briefly stepping into the world of the living? What do you think happened here? A man says this photograph was taken several years ago in his sister's house. In the image, an abnormal figure can be seen, something that strongly resembles a ghost. The family discussed the photo for a long time, trying to understand what had appeared. That same day, the house was filled with a strong smell of cigarette smoke, thick and persistent, as if someone had just been smoking nearby. But no one in the family smokes. No one at all. What do you think left its mark in this photo? This photograph was captured by a home security camera in Wayne County. In the area where a close family friend lives, items have been disappearing from yards at night for weeks. To protect themselves, the homeowners installed 2 cameras, one on each side of the house. Just days later, one camera recorded this image. A small figure appears in the yard, despite the fact that there are no children within a 2-mile radius. The clothing looks outdated, and something unusual sits on its head, resembling an old-fashioned headpiece. The homeowner does not strongly believe in ghosts, but he personally saw the image directly on the camera device. File analysis confirmed the photo was not edited. What was captured remains a mystery. What do you think this figure was? Only a young woman and her cousin were inside the house that night. Empty rooms, silence, faint light from a window. They took a random photo on an old BlackBerry in 2011 and didn't even check it right away. When they finally did, both felt their breath catch. Behind the woman, a blurred figure emerged. Not a reflection, not a shadow, a shape, as if watching from the darkness. The longer you look, the clearer the face becomes, as if trying to push through the noise of the old camera. That night, only 2 people were in the house. But in the photo, there are 3. Who do you think stood behind her? This couple was simply enjoying an evening at a restaurant inside a popular wedding venue in Tomball, Texas. Warm lights, laughter, music, nothing unusual. Later, while reviewing the photo, they noticed something that made their skin crawl. Behind them stands a woman's figure, blurred, pale, as if cut from another time. Neither guests nor staff remember anyone standing there, but in the photo, she is clearly present. A silent observer, appearing in only a single frame. What do you think this figure was? A shadow, or an uninvited guest? This photograph was taken by Katrin Paraiso, a young tourist from the Philippines, while staying in Japan. She simply took a normal selfie in the house where she was living during her vacation. But what appeared in the image turned an ordinary photo into a nightmare. At first, the picture looked dark and unclear, but when the brightness was adjusted, a strange rounded dark shape appeared on the floor behind her. And the longer you look, the worse it gets. Something was there. Messy hair, a disturbing expression. She insists no one else was in the house. There was no physical reason for that shape to appear. So the question remains, was it just a terrifying optical effect, or the ghost of someone who once died tragically in that very room? What do you think it was? Write your thoughts in the comments. In the quiet town of Ravenna, Ohio, the Cicero family lives in constant unease. At night, they hear footsteps, muffled voices, and soft laughter, as if something small is running through the hallways. But the moment that truly sent chills down their spine came when they reviewed a photograph taken inside their own home. In the image, visible through dark glass, stands a small girl deep inside the room. She appears to be watching them, silently, calmly, as if waiting to be noticed. The family says these visitors seem to appear more often now, and the sense of presence grows stronger with time. Would you stay in a house like this? This photograph was taken in 1956 inside Eastry Church in Kent, England. The image shows what many believe to be a legendary apparition, a transparent, faintly visible figure of a monk calmly sitting on a church pew. For decades, the photo has disturbed viewers. The silhouette appears far too detailed and well-defined to be written off as an optical illusion. The monk seems almost peaceful, yet his presence raises far more questions than answers. Was this truly a ghost captured in a sacred place? What do you think? This image was taken in northern New York State in November 2021. A farmer was working in his field late at night when the camera captured something unusual. Hidden among the tall grass is a mysterious figure, seemingly watching from the darkness. Its outline creates a deep sense of unease, the kind of fear that feels instinctive, as if something is lurking just a few steps away. Nothing else was found in the field that night. What do you think was watching from the grass? This took place in Ozark, Missouri. A man's co-worker took this photograph near his own home. He was simply stepping into his yard with his phone in hand when he suddenly noticed something that made his breath catch. His first thought was only, "What is that?" before quickly taking the picture. The moment he looked up again, the figure was gone, as if it had never been there at all. The man is over 60 years old, from an old school background, and barely uses technology. He is certain there was no Photoshop involved and no way the image could have been altered. The photograph appears to show the ghost of a woman wearing a full, elegant dress. Who, or what, she was remains a mystery to this day. What do you believe this figure could be? This photo was taken by a man named Jim, who works at a shelter. According to him, the image shows something extraordinary. On the staircase, a figure appears, resembling the ghost of a maid dressed in an 18th century outfit. The figure stands perfectly still. The old-fashioned clothing and rigid posture make it feel as though time itself has stopped, leaving behind only a shadow from the past. No one else was on the stairs at the time. Do you believe this could be a spirit from another era? The daughter of a farmer took this photograph on their rural ranch located in Native American territory in Oklahoma. The image was captured while her brother was burning trash on the property. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary scene: fire, smoke, and the fading light of evening. But upon closer inspection, a figure seems to appear near the boy. Its arms are stretched outward, its posture tense and alert, almost as if calling out. The shape strongly resembles a Native American spirit watching the scene unfold. The photo raises more questions than answers. Was it a ghost, or simply light and shadow playing tricks on the eye? One thing is certain: the sense of unease is impossible to ignore. The owner of this photograph, a man named Brad, explained that he took the image while at work at an oil terminal during a routine tank cleaning. He was inside a massive storage tank with a capacity of 2 million gallons, documenting the process. Later, while sending the photos to the main office, he noticed something chilling on one of the floating roof pontoons. A face. The figure was far too clear to be dismissed as a trick of light. An eye was visible, complete with a pupil and even a reflection of light. No one has been able to explain how a face could appear in such a place. What do you think was staring back from inside that tank? These two photographs were taken in the same location, less than an hour apart. They were captured by a trail camera installed in an old forested area on the grounds of a former colonial settlement in upstate South Carolina. Long ago, a small community of early settlers lived there. The history of the place is grim. Most of the inhabitants were killed during an attack. Over time, the land was reclaimed by forest, quiet, but deeply unsettling. The first photo shows an ordinary nighttime scene. The second, taken only minutes later, reveals a strange figure in the same spot. Its outline is far too clear to be explained by light or shadow alone. Many who have seen the images say the shape resembles a human silhouette, as if standing on an old path once used by the last surviving settlers as they fled. Is it fog, a camera effect, or something left behind from a long-forgotten tragedy? The images suggest that the past of this place has not disappeared. It is still watching from the darkness of the forest. What do you think was captured here? Write your opinion in the comments. This photo was taken several years ago in an old apartment. The owner of the image was simply experimenting with a new digital camera, a cheap model often used as a webcam. Later, he believed the images had been lost. Unexpectedly, an acquaintance found a copy and sent it to him by email. When he opened the file, he froze. In the hallway stood something unnatural, a pale figure with no head. He could not explain what the camera had captured, but even now, the sight of that anomaly sends chills down his spine. What do you think appeared in that hallway? Write in the comments. In the next photograph, a young man simply took a picture of himself in a mirror. Nothing unusual was expected, but when he later examined the image more closely, he noticed a figure at the bottom of the frame, clear enough that it could not be ignored. He was certain he had been alone, yet the photo suggested otherwise, as if someone had been watching him the entire time. For many who have seen this image, the figure provokes genuine fear. It is motionless and silent, like the embodiment of something dangerous. It feels as if it was hiding, waiting for the right moment to remind him that the world is not always safe, even when you believe you are alone. What do you think appeared in the mirror? Write your thoughts in the comments. The owner of this photograph explained that the camera had been installed deep in the forest and set to activate only when movement was detected. Its sole purpose was to capture deer and other wildlife passing by. According to him, there was no possible way for a person to be there unnoticed. And for the camera to trigger, something had to be moving. What the camera ultimately recorded raised only one question: who, or what, could have appeared there at that moment, if no people were present by definition? What do you think set off the camera? Share your thoughts. A man said this photograph was taken in his daughter's garden around 11 at night. At the time, nothing unusual was noticed. The night was quiet, calm, and seemingly empty. Later, while examining the image, they noticed something impossible to explain. A figure stood nearby, distinct and disturbingly close. The most unsettling part was that no one had seen it with the naked eye. It was as if the figure appeared only for the camera, or had always been there, hidden within the darkness. What do you think stood beside them that night? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was taken in the year 2000 inside a pizzeria called The Godfather. According to witnesses who were present in the dining area at the time, the strange, ghost-like figure could be seen not only in the photograph, but also with the naked eye. The image appeared to hover among ordinary customers, creating a sense of unease that was difficult to ignore. People reported feeling an unexplainable presence, as if something invisible had entered the room and refused to leave. The atmosphere changed instantly. Conversations felt heavier, and several visitors admitted later that they felt watched, even after leaving the restaurant. What do you think was seen among the diners that night? Share your opinion in the comments. This photograph appears to show ghostly faces watching from the historic McPike Mansion in Alton, Illinois. According to local legend, the 149-year-old house is home to numerous spirits, members of the McPike family and their servants. In 2009, investigators from Ghost Lab studied the property, recording EVP sounds and capturing unexplained phenomena on camera. Strange noises, sudden temperature drops, and shadow movements were documented throughout the mansion. This photograph became one of the pieces of evidence suggesting that the old mansion is still inhabited by those who never truly left its walls. Who do you think is still watching from inside the mansion? Write your opinion in the comments. According to the owner of the photograph, it was never meant to capture a boy at all. The image was supposed to show only his sister. The photo was taken in 2014, and for years nothing unusual was noticed. It was not until the spring of 2018, when the mother was looking through old family photos, that she noticed something disturbing deep in the background. A strange boy appeared in the frame, partially hidden, standing where no one should have been. The image was immediately sent to a paranormal specialist for analysis. The response was even more unsettling. The boy had no legs. The family's house had always been considered strange. For years, unexplained events occurred there. Sudden odors with no source, objects moving on their own, constant unexplained sounds, shadowy figures appearing briefly, and a fire alarm that would activate at exactly 2 in the morning. So many things happened that the family even began to wonder whether some kind of portal existed inside the house. There had also been a death in that home. The previous owner had died of tuberculosis, and the house had to be disinfected before the family moved in. The neighboring house, according to locals, also showed signs of paranormal activity. Despite all of this, no one had ever reported seeing a child's spirit in the house. And yet, the image clearly showed a small boy standing silently in the photograph. What do you think appeared in the background of this photo? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was taken late at night at a workplace. Upon closer inspection, several dark human-like silhouettes can be seen in the image. According to the person who took the photo, he was completely alone at the site at that moment. No one else was supposed to be there, and no movement had been heard or seen. The photograph creates a deeply unsettling feeling. The shadowy figures appear motionless, as if hiding within the darkness, silently observing every movement without making a sound. What do you think these silhouettes represent? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was taken in the early 2000s at the Blackpool Wax Museum in the United Kingdom. At first glance, it appears to be an ordinary picture. However, when looking closely at the window above the person's left shoulder, an unexplained face can be seen. The expression is strange and unsettling, as if someone unseen was watching from behind the glass. The face does not resemble any wax figure in the museum and appears distorted, frozen in a way that feels unnatural. What do you think was looking out from that window? Share your thoughts in the comments. The young boy was visiting the Jedburgh Castle Jail Museum with his father. Together, they were photographing the dark cells and narrow corridors of the former 19th century Reform prison. Several of the photos turned out poorly, and later the father began deleting the failed shots. But one image made him stop. In the accidental photograph, instead of his son's face, a floating figure appeared in the doorway of a prison cell. The outline of the silhouette was so clear that it could not be dismissed as glare or shadow. The father immediately realized that something had been captured that neither of them had seen with their own eyes. The prison, built in the 1820s and closed in 1868 due to its brutal conditions, has long been associated with dark rumors. Executions were carried out there, and decades later, after the building became a museum, visitors began reporting strange shadows, flickering lights, and human-like shapes appearing in the corridors. Until then, none of these stories had been supported by photographic evidence. The most infamous ghost of the jail is believed to be a prisoner named Edwin MacArthur, executed in 1855. According to legend, his spirit still wanders the cells, frightening those who linger too long. Now, for the first time, a photograph that was nearly deleted appears to show exactly such a presence. An ordinary failed shot may have become the most convincing proof that someone, or something, never left the old prison. What do you think was captured in this photo? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was taken at the end of a carnival parade in Mazatlan. A father was taking a picture of his daughter with her friend. Only days later, while reviewing the photos, they noticed a small girl peeking out from beneath them. What made the image especially disturbing was the girl's gray skin. There was no clear explanation for how she could have been there. The walkway was far too high for a child to appear from below, and her appearance stood out sharply from the rest of the scene. The photograph left the family with a deep sense of unease, as if something unknown had intruded into their memory. Who do you think the child was? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was taken by a young woman's aunt. Only later, while closely examining the image, she noticed a strange figure in a window, despite the fact that no one was inside the house at the time. The shape appeared to be watching quietly from within, as if something unseen had paused just long enough to be caught on camera. What do you think was standing in the window? Share your opinion in the comments. A group of friends often go skateboarding and enjoy taking group photos. Everything seemed normal until they began reviewing their pictures. One detail stood out immediately. Another photo, taken just moments before this one, showed no one behind them. But in this image, a tall figure appears in the background. Considering the time the photo was taken, it was unlikely that anyone could have been inside the shop behind them. It was already closed. And the figure itself appears far too tall to be an ordinary person. What exactly was captured in this photo remains unknown. What do you think it was? Share your thoughts in the comments. A family photograph turned into a nightmare when a woman captured her nephews playing in the living room. Later, when the image was enlarged, a dark face appeared, staring at the children from the screen of the turned-off television. Its left side was shrouded in shadow, its expression empty yet unnervingly human. There was nothing in the room that could have created such a reflection. Later, the family learned that the previous owner of the house had taken his own life there. The photo remains one of the most disturbing ever shared online, as if the man's spirit was still trying to be seen. What do you see in the reflection? The man has always tried to find a rational explanation for this photograph, but he has never been able to understand what appeared behind his son. On the left side of the image, a strange figure can be faintly seen. Its shape resembles a human form, but the details are disturbing, especially the absence of eye sockets, making the face appear empty and lifeless. Every attempt to explain it logically leads to the same conclusion. No one in the room saw this figure at the moment the photo was taken. The photograph remains the only evidence that it was ever there. What do you think this figure is? Write your thoughts in the comments. The author shared this photograph taken inside the tower where he works, warning viewers that it appears to show the spirit of a young girl. The photo was taken during a normal day, with no special effects or editing. Yet upon closer inspection, a strange figure becomes visible, transparent, fragile, barely distinguishable against the stone walls of the tower. It appears to be watching, standing or gliding through the corridor, leaving behind a quiet sense of unease. What do you think was captured in this tower? Write your thoughts in the comments. The Reddit user who shared this photograph had always been openly skeptical of paranormal stories. He did not believe in ghosts, signs, or unexplained appearances. This image changed that. He grew up in a small town tucked between two mountains. 2 years earlier, the town's old elementary school, a building familiar to every local resident, was being demolished. One day, a friend of his mother took several photos with a regular phone to document the demolition. Later, while reviewing the images, they noticed something no one had seen at the time. Standing clearly in the doorway of the disappearing school was the figure of a small boy. He appears calm and silent, as if watching the destruction unfold, as though he doesn't understand why his place is being erased. The author stresses that this was a raw phone photo with no editing. Hardly anyone in the town knows how to use Photoshop, and there was no reason to fake anything. I don't believe in things like this, he admitted, but I don't know how to explain it. And that is what makes the image truly unsettling. When even a skeptic has no rational answer, the fear feels real. What do you think was standing in that doorway? Write your thoughts in the comments. During a football club match, one fan noticed something unusual in a photograph taken behind one of the players. In the image, a strange figure is clearly visible, something that does not belong in the normal background. Its shape and the way the light reflects off it give the impression of something unreal. The observer compared it to a UFO, something foreign and unexplainable, as if an object from another world was hovering directly behind the player. What do you think was captured here? Share your opinion in the comments. The owner of this photograph claims it was taken by her friends using an iPhone 4 or 5. The woman on the left was intentionally blurred for privacy reasons. What makes the image truly disturbing is what appears behind her. At the moment the photo was taken, there was no one else inside the house. No people, no furniture, no objects of any kind were present in that spot. And yet, the photograph captured something dark and unsettling, a shadowy shape resembling a hidden figure that seems to have emerged from nowhere. The author of the image admits that no logical explanation has ever been found. To this day, they continue to question what exactly appeared in the frame. A trick of the light, a camera malfunction, or was someone, or something, standing behind the woman at the exact moment the photo was taken? What do you think was captured here? Share your thoughts in the comments. One day, a father was taking random photos inside Ford's theater, simply capturing different objects around the building. He later insisted that no one had been standing nearby when the photo was taken. Yet in the image, a strange figure appears in the background. The shape resembles the ghostly outline of a soldier holding a weapon, standing silently as if frozen in time. The figure does not look like a person walking through the frame, nor like a simple lighting artifact. It stands in a way that feels almost deliberate, like a silent observer from another time. Could it be a trick of light, or something far stranger? What do you think? A woman later shared that her godson had sent her this photograph. The image had been captured by a security camera. Behind the window of the house, a pale figure can clearly be seen standing outside, almost as if someone was watching from the darkness. What makes the image especially disturbing is that at that time, the homeowners were away. The house was supposed to be completely empty. No one should have been anywhere near the building. Was it simply a camera malfunction, or something waiting outside the house? This location had already gained a reputation for strange stories. Some people reported hearing unexplained noises, feeling sudden waves of anxiety, and noticing objects moving without explanation. Because of these events, the owners decided to document what was happening. They set up a camera designed to take static photos. In one of the images, something unusual appeared, a faint shape that looked like the beginning of a form. It was as if something invisible was slowly taking shape inside the room. What exactly was starting to appear in that photograph? The owner of this photo claims it was taken in 2017 using a PS Vita device. Since that day, the image has continued to disturb him. On the right side of the photograph, on the bed, it appears that someone is sitting there. The shape resembles the outline of a person, pale and barely visible. The problem is simple. At the time the photo was taken, he had been completely alone in the room. Years have passed, but one question still remains unanswered. Who, or what, was sitting beside him? The photograph was taken last spring in Castle Rock State Park in California. The day was cloudy, perfect conditions for photography. Later that evening, the couple looked through their photos at home. That's when the woman noticed something strange at the far end of the trail. They zoomed in. A distant human-like figure stood at the end of the path, motionless and unsettling. A chill ran down their spines. The computer was closed immediately. They never finished looking through the rest of the pictures. Who, or what, was standing on that empty trail? The photograph was taken inside the White Lion Hotel pub in Castleford. A young man had just bought a new phone and decided to test the camera by taking a simple photo of the room. But the result was unexpected. In the image, a human figure can clearly be seen sitting calmly at a table, as if quietly drinking a pint. The strange part is that in reality, there had been no one sitting there. To the naked eye, the seat was completely empty. The discovery shocked the author of the photo. At the same time, it fascinated him. For him, the image became another piece of possible evidence that something unexplained might exist around us. Who, or what, was sitting there that night? Write your thoughts in the comments. The next photo was taken by a man who encountered something deeply unsettling inside his own bathroom. In the image, above the toilet, a floating face is clearly visible, suspended in the air, as if watching him. The expression appears indistinct, but unmistakably human. Many online users were quick to explain it away as a trick of light or reflections from nearby surfaces. However, the man insists this was no illusion. According to him, at the exact moment the photo was taken, the room suddenly grew unnaturally cold, and the air felt heavy, pressing down on his chest. The experience left him shaken long after the image was captured. Was this just light and shadow, or something watching from the darkness? What do you think it was? A social media user shared a photograph that he claims captured a ghost. In the image, a semi-transparent figure can be seen standing next to a car in an empty backyard late at night. The yard was quiet, with no people around and no visible movement at the time the photo was taken. Some viewers believe this could be nothing more than a camera glitch or a lighting error. Others are convinced that the image shows something far more disturbing, a presence that should not have been there. Is this simply a technical flaw, or are we looking at something truly paranormal? This is a well-known photograph online, often presented as an image of the ghost of Michael Jackson. The picture went viral shortly after the singer's death in 2009. The image first appeared during a CNN report, reportedly filmed inside Michael Jackson's former home at the Neverland Ranch. Viewers claimed that in the background, standing in a doorway, a silhouette resembling the pop icon could be seen. The shape appeared thin, upright, and eerily familiar. Some people believe the image is authentic. Others dismiss it as a hoax or a coincidence of light and shadow. However, fans widely shared the photo as proof that Michael Jackson was still present, not alive, but lingering as a spirit. Was this a visual illusion, or something more? What do you believe this image shows? This photograph was taken in the early 1990s in York, England. A young woman stood leaning against a wall near the towering York Minster Cathedral. At the time, the photo seemed completely normal, but once it was developed, she felt true shock. Hovering above her head was a strange face, pale, hollow, and resembling a skull. It did not match any person nearby, nor could it be explained by shadows or background details. Since then, the image has stayed with her. She has never been able to forget that disturbing shape or answer the question that still follows her. What do you think appeared above her? This image was captured by a motion-activated security camera outside a house in South Yorkshire, United Kingdom. In the photograph, a blurry figure of a young girl can be faintly seen, as if walking alone down an empty street. The scene feels unnatural, silent, and deeply unsettling. Some believe the figure is nothing more than a camera error or light distortion. However, local residents claim that strange occurrences have been reported in that area for years. Is this just a technical mistake, or something far more disturbing? While sorting through old family photographs, a woman's brother came across a picture taken back in the 1970s. When examined closely, a strange face can be seen in the left corner of the image, distorted, unnatural, as if watching everything that was happening. The woman pictured in the photo admitted that she had never noticed this face before. Now the image refuses to leave her thoughts. It feels as though something from the past is still watching her, even decades later. What do you think this face is? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was taken during a ghost hunting tour. A woman was sitting inside a cafe when the picture was taken. Later, when reviewing the image, a ghostly face could be clearly seen below her, near the lower part of the frame. The question remains unanswered. Were the tour organizers simply trying to scare the participants, or did the camera truly capture something supernatural? What do you think this face belongs to? Share your thoughts. In 1971, a 4-year-old girl stayed with her grandmother while her mother was in the hospital after a tragic miscarriage. That day, the grandmother decided to take a photo using an old Polaroid camera, the kind that cannot create double exposures. The photo shows the child and a dog, but deep in the background, something strange appears. A blurred figure, standing in the shadows. The family is certain it is not a film defect. Years later, the girl remembers that moment with a deep sense of emotion. She believes the camera captured the presence of her unborn brother, the one who was meant to be there, but remained only on the edge of visibility. The photograph became part of the family's story, and every time they look at it, they feel that someone is still close by. Who do you think was captured in the photo? This photograph was taken around 1910 in Felly Priory, Nottinghamshire. At first glance, it appears to be an ordinary staircase, softly lit by daylight. But upon closer inspection, a figure can be seen standing on the upper landing. It is faint, semi-transparent, almost as if made of mist. The figure is completely still, its gaze directed downward, toward a place where something unexplained may have once occurred. Could this be genuine evidence of something beyond our understanding, or simply light and imagination at work? What do you think this figure is? On a wedding day, the photographer was capturing joyful moments, unaware that one of the images would later cause deep unease. In one photograph, behind a glass door, a face appeared, pale, empty-eyed, as if watching from another time. No one recognized it. It was later confirmed that there was no passage behind the door, only a locked balcony. The photo remains in the album as a quiet reminder. Not everything that appears in a picture belongs to this world. What do you think was watching from behind the glass? A young woman named April shared this photograph, which had been sent to her by a friend. She has no idea who, or what, might have appeared in the image. The photo shows a girl and a boy standing together, but between them is a strange gray figure, completely unlike a human being, as if it came from somewhere beyond this world. April says she cannot stop thinking about the photo. It feels as though the figure in the image is still watching them to this day. Perhaps it is not just an image, but a real presence that refuses to let go. What do you think appeared between them? Share your opinion. A woman discovered this photograph after purchasing an old house. While sorting through items left in the attic, she found an old photograph that had turned yellow with age. In the image stands a woman with 4 small girls beside her. On the back of the photograph was a neat handwritten note, "Me and my 4 children." The new homeowner remembered that the previous owner of the house had indeed raised 4 daughters. But something about the photo seemed strange. Next to the family stood another figure. The shape was blurred, almost transparent, with no clear facial features. Yet it was clearly standing beside the children. By that time, the former owner of the house had already passed away. So the woman decided to call one of her daughters. The daughter confirmed that the photo was real and that it did show her mother and the 4 girls as children. But when asked about the extra figure in the photo, she gave no explanation. To this day, the woman still keeps the photograph. Sometimes she takes it out and studies the strange silhouette standing beside the children. A figure that no one has ever been able to explain. Who was the 5th child in the photo? Write your thoughts in the comments. In this photograph, Sally Watts is handing her daughter Grace a birthday cake for her 10th birthday. Another daughter, Charlotte, stands nearby taking the picture. At first, it looks like a perfectly normal family moment. Later, while looking through the photos together, Sally noticed something unusual in the mirror behind her. Reflected in the glass was the image of another child. At first she assumed it must have been her son, but when she looked more closely, she realized that her son was already visible in the photograph, sitting on his sister's lap. The reflected face did not belong to anyone in the family. The discovery left an unsettling question behind. Who was the child appearing in the mirror behind them? Could it have been a ghost? This photograph was taken in Gettysburg, a place known for its long and tragic history. In the image, a strange silhouette appears in the distance. The shape is so clear that it is difficult to dismiss as coincidence. According to the owner of the photo, the figure looks like a ghost, perhaps a soldier who never left the battlefield where the war once raged. The silhouette stands quietly among the grass and ruins, like a silent witness from the past. Gettysburg is known for many stories about unexplained sightings. Could this photograph have captured one of those lingering spirits? A young woman shared this photograph online because she could not explain what appeared in it. That evening she had been at home with her boyfriend. The two of them were sitting together on the couch and decided to take a simple selfie with a phone. Nothing unusual was happening in the room. But when they looked at the photo afterward, they noticed something disturbing. Between them in the image stands a dark figure. The shape appears tall and narrow, almost like a shadowy silhouette with no visible face or features. Yet at the moment the photo was taken, no one had been standing there. The room contained only the two of them. So who, or what, appeared between them? An 11-month-old baby girl was playing with a phone while sitting next to her father. Meanwhile, her mother and older brother were sitting on the floor nearby, talking. The baby accidentally took several photos while holding the phone. One of those images later caught the family's attention. In the photograph, it appears that someone else might be present, a faint figure that cannot easily be explained. The family has always believed that the great-grandmother, who meant everything to the mother, still watches over them in spirit. The photograph almost feels like a moment where 2 generations briefly met. But was it truly a spiritual presence, or just coincidence? What do you think? This photograph was captured by a surveillance camera at New Cross Gate Station in South London. The station had already closed after the final train of the day, and the image was later sent to researchers for analysis. The station has a long history of strange reports. Employees have repeatedly spoken about objects moving on their own and unexplained knocking sounds echoing through the empty platforms. In this photograph, something unusual appears. It seems as though someone, or something, is present in a place where absolutely no one should be. The shape is faint but noticeable, standing quietly within the deserted station. Is this simply a camera glitch, or does something still wander through the station after dark? This photograph was taken by a trail camera placed deep in the Sabine National Forest. The camera was triggered 3 times during the night, but in the captured images, only one frame seems to show something unusual. In that single moment, the camera recorded a strange presence in the darkness of the forest. The shape looks unfamiliar, something thin, unnatural, and difficult to clearly identify. Even experienced paranormal researchers admit that evidence like this can be fascinating. But encountering something like that alone in a dark forest is a completely different experience. The photograph leaves the unsettling impression that something may be hiding between the trees. What do you think triggered the camera that night? This photograph was taken in Thompson's Woods near Sheridan, Illinois. The location has long been known among locals for strange and frightening stories connected to the forest. According to the photographer, the image captured a white anomaly standing among the trees. The shape resembles a ghostly figure. It appears faint but clearly visible against the darker background of the forest. The figure looks so unusual that it completely confused the person who took the photograph. No clear explanation has ever been found. Was it simply mist, or something wandering through the woods? A young woman once shared a story that began while she was going through old family photographs. Among them, she discovered a picture of her grandfather. In the photograph, he is sitting at a piano, completely absorbed in playing. Music had always been his greatest passion. Years later, while studying the image more carefully, she noticed a strange detail. On the photograph, an unexplained anomaly appears near the piano keys. It looks like a distorted shape, almost as if something is reaching toward the keys. No one in the family has ever been able to explain what the figure is or where it came from. At the time, no one paid attention to it. The photograph remained in the family album for many years, quietly forgotten. Then something happened that made the image seem far more disturbing. 16 years later, the grandfather was involved in a terrible car accident. Doctors managed to save his life, but the consequences were devastating. He lost both of his hands. From that moment on, the man who loved playing the piano more than anything could never touch the keys again. Now, when the woman looks at that old photograph, she cannot ignore a troubling thought. Was that strange anomaly near his hands simply a defect in the photograph, or did the camera accidentally capture something far darker? What do you think it was? Write in the comments. At first glance, this photograph seemed completely normal. Nothing about it appeared unusual when it was first taken. However, several days later, after the images were uploaded and reviewed more carefully, something strange was noticed in the upper right corner of the photo. There appeared to be a faint shape that looked remarkably like a human face. When the image was zoomed in and examined closely, the outline became more noticeable. The shape suggested eyes, a nose, and a mouth emerging from the background. The expression seemed blank, almost as if it were staring silently toward the camera. The photographer admits there is no clear explanation for what the shape might be. It could be a coincidence of shadows and lighting, or perhaps something far more mysterious. Could this really be the face of a spirit appearing in the background? This photograph was taken during a quiet visit to a family member's grave. The moment was meant to be peaceful and respectful, surrounded only by silence and rows of headstones. At the time the photo was taken, nothing seemed unusual. The cemetery was empty, and the photographer believed they were completely alone. But later, when the image was reviewed, something unexpected appeared in the background. Standing behind the graves was a faint figure that had not been visible during the moment the photo was taken. The shape looked almost human, though slightly blurred, as if it had emerged from the stillness of the cemetery itself. The discovery changed the meaning of the photograph entirely. What had been a quiet moment of remembrance suddenly felt unsettling. What exactly did the camera capture in that silent place? This photograph captures a strange moment inside the Woodhead Tunnel in West Yorkshire. A man and several co-workers were performing routine work at the site and casually took a few pictures using a mobile phone. Later, while reviewing the images, they were shocked by what appeared in one of the photos. On the left side of the frame stood the figure of a woman. The problem was that no woman had been present in the tunnel when the picture was taken. An expert later examined the photograph carefully and concluded that the image showed no signs of digital editing. The lighting from the camera flash and the way shadows fall across the figure appear consistent with the natural conditions of the scene. If the figure was not added later, then one question remains. Who was the woman standing in the tunnel? This photograph was taken by a woman during a ghost tour in the wooded area of Hessel Foreshore in East Riding, Yorkshire. The forest is known locally for an old legend about an orphaned girl who is said to wander among the trees, still searching for her lost father. According to the photographer, nothing unusual happened during the walk. The forest was quiet, the group followed the trail, and nothing stood out at the time. It wasn't until later, when she reviewed the photos at home, that something disturbing appeared. In one of the images, a faint shape seemed to form within the shadows of the forest. When the picture was examined more closely, the outline began to resemble the small figure of a child standing between the trees. The shape appeared pale against the dark woods, almost as if it were watching from the shadows. The image gives off a strange feeling of unease, as if someone, or something, was silently present in the forest the entire time. Was it truly the spirit of the girl from the legend, or just a trick of light and shadow? What do you think this could be? Write in the comments. The photographer explained that he had recently bought a new digital camera and decided to test it in a dimly lit room. He wanted to experiment with taking pictures without flash in order to create a darker, more atmospheric effect. Later, while reviewing the photos, one image caught his attention. Inside the darkness of an open doorway, something pale could be seen forming against the shadows. Curious, he uploaded the picture into an editing program and pushed the brightness and contrast to their maximum levels. As the image became clearer, the shape seemed to transform into something much more unsettling. According to the photographer, the outline resembled a man wearing a hooded sweatshirt, stepping into the bathroom. The figure looked as though it had been captured mid-movement, partially hidden by the darkness of the doorway. The man insists that nobody else was in the house at the time. Seeing the image after editing gave him chills. The moment he realized what the shape looked like, he felt a sudden sense of dread. Who, or what, was walking into that bathroom? This photograph was taken inside a psychiatric hospital in Peoria, and some believe it captured what is known as the White Lady. The image was examined by 3 independent experts, and all of them concluded that it is authentic. The figure appears faint, almost blending into the surroundings, yet distinct enough to raise questions. There is something unsettling about the way it stands, silent, pale, and seemingly out of place, as if it doesn't belong to the living world. Could this really be the presence people have whispered about for years? What do you think this is? Write in the comments. In the reflection of a pair of glasses captured in this photo, a disturbing figure can be seen, something that doesn't look human at all. The figure appears dressed in black, while its face is unnaturally pale, almost like a mask or an empty surface. Despite the reflection being small, the shape is clear enough to cause unease. There is something about it that feels wrong, as if it doesn't belong in the scene. The way it appears, silent and motionless, creates the impression that it is watching. Even in such a small reflection, the figure carries an eerie presence, like something pulled straight from a dream or a nightmare. What do you think is reflected in those glasses? People love taking photos of their pets, capturing small, joyful moments. But what if a photo showed a pet that was no longer alive? In this image, a dog is seen sitting on a chair, calmly posing for the camera. At first, everything seems normal, but upon closer inspection, something unusual appears, another animal-like presence beside it. The owner insists that at the time the photo was taken, there was only one dog in the house. He had recently lost another pet and believes that the second figure in the image may be the spirit of his former companion. The faint outline is subtle, but once noticed, it becomes difficult to ignore. Could a beloved pet really return, even for a moment? A woman took a photo of her daughter at sunset while on vacation. The moment seemed peaceful, filled with warm light and calm surroundings. Later, after sending the image to her husband, he immediately noticed something disturbing. Behind the girl stood a massive dark figure. The woman admits she has no idea what it could be. The shape appears far too large to be a person, towering unnaturally in the background. Its form is solid and heavy, almost swallowing the fading sunlight behind it. The contrast between the warm sunset and the cold, dark presence makes the image deeply unsettling. What could have been standing behind her daughter? The owner of this photograph shared a long history of strange experiences. Since childhood, he believed in ghosts, as his family had witnessed many unexplained events. In their first home in Mexico, his grandfather claimed that human bones were discovered underground during construction. After that, small but unsettling occurrences began: photos falling off walls, doors opening on their own, distant voices, and even sightings of what they described as an ugly man. After moving to the United States, the family settled into an older house, where the activity seemed to grow stronger. Door handles turned by themselves, objects fell without cause, and doors slammed shut. His brother-in-law once claimed to see a woman standing near a closet, silently watching. The owner himself often woke up with scratches on parts of his body he couldn't easily reach, with no explanation for how they appeared. Recently, while recording a video for a friend, he noticed a strange figure on the window. The image shown here captures that exact moment. He says that even now, there are occasional knocks on the windows and walls, especially late at night. What could be following this family from place to place? This photo was taken about 10 years ago. It shows the author's grandson walking toward a tunnel on NC Parkway. When the author showed the photo to his mother, she noticed a strange detail. Inside the tunnel, behind the boy, a small girl in a white dress and white knee socks seems to appear. According to the author, only the boy's mother and her current husband were present, walking behind. Could this have been a ghost? Some say her eyes seem to follow the boy. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. The author's father appears in this photo taken at a railway station. On first look, it seems like an ordinary snapshot. Yet, a vague white figure is visible nearby. This detail puzzled the author until a conversation with her mother. She recalled a tragedy at this station. A small child once got trapped on the tracks and was hit by a train. Since then, locals claim the child's spirit sometimes appears here. Could this be the child's ghost? Does the figure in the photo move closer when nobody is looking? A group of friends in Vietnam gathered for a party and took several photos. Later, when reviewing them, one shot caused everyone to freeze. Their former friend, someone who had died nearly a year prior, appears clearly in the picture. They had been very close, spending much time together in life. The friends are certain this was no camera glitch or random shadow. That evening, it was as if he returned to see them one more time, smiling faintly, just as he did when alive. Could the dead revisit their loved ones? Have you ever felt a presence like this? The photo shows the author's mother and grandfather during a lakeside outing, a typical family snapshot. Yet, in the background, a strange figure appears. Some may say it's merely a distortion, a shadow, or a play of light. But there's more to the story. Years ago, the author's grandmother drowned in this lake. To the family, this silhouette feels different. Perhaps the grandmother appeared briefly to see her daughter once more. Could the dead truly visit the living? What do you think? Would you recognize someone even after death? This photo was taken inside an abandoned nursing home, closed for around 40 years. Locals tell dark stories about the place. Rumor has it that people were treated cruelly here, and many never left these walls. At first glance, the photo only shows an old staircase in the empty building. But on closer inspection, a strange silhouette appears on the steps, resembling a human figure, faint yet oddly detailed. Some insist it's just light and shadow. Others believe the ghost still wanders this abandoned home. What do you see? Could it be a lingering spirit trapped in time? This photo captures a forest near the author's home. During an ordinary evening walk, the dog suddenly barked loudly and grew anxious. In the picture, a strange figure stands in the shadows of the trees, seemingly watching them. Its outline is vague, but the sense of being observed is unmistakable. After this incident, the author avoids walking there alone, fearing the unknown. Who, or what, was there? Share your thoughts in the comments. This picture shows a child's birthday party. Yet in the background, something unusual appears. To the left of the child, pale silhouettes resembling faces float in a light haze or mist. Witnesses confirm that no one smoked or used a vape at the party, so there was no natural source for such a haze. The faces remain visible even without smoke, creating a feeling of otherworldly presence. as if distant spirits had quietly joined the celebration. What are these faces? Let us know what you think. A man preparing to buy a house in Iowa shared this photograph. The home was built in 1900, old enough to carry history within its walls. At first, the image seemed like a normal shot of the interior, but one detail stood out. From a dark doorway, a figure appears to be peeking out. The silhouette is unclear, just enough to suggest a human shape, but lacking detail. It stands partially hidden, as if it doesn't want to be fully seen. The homeowner hopes it might be nothing more than a reflection of the photographer. But the position, the angle, and the timing raise questions. Why does it look like something is watching from inside the house? And more importantly, what was standing in that doorway? Was it a trick of the light, or something that never left the house? What do you think is looking out from the darkness? Write in the comments. This photo was taken inside the Diamond Chain Building, a location with a long and unsettling history. Before the building was constructed, the land served as the first cemetery in Indianapolis. In the image, a faint figure can be seen. It resembles the outline of a person, but lacks clear features. The shape stands quietly, almost blending into the surroundings. Many believe it could be the spirit of someone buried there long ago. The idea becomes harder to dismiss when considering the history of the location. A place built over graves may not always stay silent. The figure doesn't appear aggressive. It doesn't move. It simply stands there, watching. Could this be someone who never truly left? What do you think was captured in this building? Write in the comments. This photograph was taken years ago and seemed completely ordinary at first. For a long time, no one noticed anything unusual. But eventually, a detail emerged that changed everything. A face. It appears in the frame as if it is looking directly at the person holding the camera. The eyes are completely dark, empty, yet somehow focused. The expression is frozen, unnatural. The face itself is pale, almost glowing against the darkness. It is too clear to be dismissed as a shadow or random distortion. The longer someone looks at the image, the stronger the feeling becomes that the face is not just part of the photo. It feels aware, like it's looking back. And once noticed, it's impossible to unsee. What do you think is staring from the darkness? Write in the comments. This photograph was taken by Haley Ogletree in Tifton, Georgia, after a long day of fishing. Her father was packing up their gear while she casually took a quick selfie. Nothing seemed unusual at the time, but later, something appeared in the image. On the right side of the photo, a dark figure can be seen. It stands close, too close. Its shape resembles a human silhouette, but its edges are unclear, almost blending into the background. It looks like it's standing right beside her father. The figure doesn't cast a normal shadow. It doesn't reflect light like anything else in the scene. It just exists, unnoticed at the time the photo was taken. Was it something caught by accident, or something that was always there? What do you think is standing next to them? Write in the comments. This photograph sparked intense debate online. Its origin remains unknown, but the image itself continues to disturb those who see it. Some claim that a figure in a wedding dress can be seen clearly in the frame. The silhouette is too defined to be dismissed easily. It stands still, almost perfectly shaped, like a person frozen in time. Supporters of the paranormal believe it is a genuine ghost, possibly a bride from another time, captured by chance. Others search for logical explanations, suggesting shadows or visual distortions. But even those who doubt the supernatural admit that the figure feels out of place. There is something unnatural about how clearly it appears, something that doesn't match the rest of the scene. If it's just light, why does it look so real? What do you see in this image? Write in the comments. An old photograph of a brother appears ordinary at first glance, but upon closer inspection, a strange red figure can be seen in the distance. It stands out sharply against the rest of the image, as if it does not belong in the scene at all, almost like it was placed there separately, outside of reality. For the family, this image carries a heavy emotional weight. The mother of the author had always insisted that she could see demons. Her claims eventually led to her being placed in a psychiatric hospital at the age of 25, where she later passed away. After that, the brother was raised solely by the author. Now, looking at the photograph, it becomes difficult to separate coincidence from something more unsettling. Is it just a random color distortion in an old photo, or something that eerily reflects a deeper, disturbing connection to the family's history and perception of the world? What do you think it is? Just an error, or something more? This photograph was taken during the Day of the Dead in 2022. The author clearly remembers the event and the people who were present, yet still cannot explain the figure that appears in the background of the image. What makes the situation even stranger is that no surveillance cameras recorded this moment, only the phone camera captured it. The author describes being deeply shocked upon discovering the figure. Some suggest it could be connected to the Day of the Dead altar, which in folklore is believed to attract spirits or open a connection between worlds. Even more disturbing, the altar reportedly caught fire later that same night without any candles being lit. Was something truly present that evening? A woman claims she captured something unusual during a flight. In the photograph, between the rows of airplane seats, a strange silhouette can be seen. At first, it is barely noticeable, but once spotted, it becomes difficult to ignore. The shape appears oddly defined, standing out from the tight and ordinary environment of the cabin. Some argue it is simply a reflection, a camera glitch, or a trick of lighting in a confined space. Others believe it feels different, like a brief, unexplained presence that somehow appeared in the frame for just a moment, as if something was there that shouldn't have been. What was captured inside the airplane cabin? This image was taken at a cemetery. In the distance, a figure can be seen moving toward the trees along a narrow path. According to the photographer, the silhouette appeared to walk steadily forward before suddenly vanishing once it reached the tree line. The author later approached the area to check if anyone was there, but the space behind the trees was completely empty. No footsteps, no movement, nothing. What makes the image even more disturbing is the shape of the figure's head. It appears elongated and slightly distorted, giving the entire silhouette an unnatural and unsettling appearance, as if it does not belong to a normal human being. Was it a trick of light, or something that should not have been there at all? This photograph was taken in a former German military underground hospital located on the Channel Islands. It was later published in 2010, and according to the author, no one else was present in that area at the time. The photo was captured using an Olympus C2 digital camera. However, strange shapes were later noticed deep within the frame. One particular silhouette stands out clearly, It has a vaguely human form, but something about it feels off, almost unnatural. Some believe it could be nothing more than a shadow or a camera artifact. Others interpret it differently, suggesting it may represent something far more disturbing, perhaps a lingering trace of suffering tied to the tragic history of the location during the Nazi occupation, as if the place itself remembers what happened there. What could have appeared in an empty underground hospital? This photograph was taken with a 35mm camera in an empty corridor of Building 64 on Alcatraz. The area is closed to visitors and separated by locked gates, making access strictly limited. At first glance, the image shows nothing more than a silent, dimly lit, empty hallway. However, the author claims that upon closer inspection, a faint silhouette can be seen, resembling a ghostly prisoner who may have once been held within these walls. Some interpret it as a possible paranormal manifestation tied to the prison's dark and violent history. Others argue it is simply a trick of light, film grain, or a coincidental shadow forming the illusion of a human shape. What could be standing in a place where no one should be? One night, the author went into the garage and approached the vehicle to retrieve something from inside. But as they looked through the window, it seemed as though someone was sitting in the front seat. Startled, they quickly stepped back, returned inside, and told their husband that either there was a person inside the truck, or they had just seen something resembling a ghost. The vehicle had belonged to the husband for years but had been rarely used. Later, they went outside together and took photographs of what had seemed strange. Whether it was pareidolia or something else entirely remains unknown. What sat inside that car? They went out for a pleasant dinner and took several photos to capture the memory of the evening. At the time, everything seemed completely normal. Lighting, atmosphere, smiles, nothing out of place. Later, while reviewing the images, they noticed strange figures in the background. At first, they were easy to miss, but upon closer inspection it became clear that something, or someone, was present in the frame that no one had noticed during the moment of capture. The silhouettes feel unsettling, out of place, as if they accidentally slipped into the scene from somewhere else. What was really standing behind them that night? A boy was born only a few weeks after his grandfather passed away. During one visit, he crawled into his grandfather's favorite chair, and his mother took a photograph to keep the moment. Later, while reviewing the image, a strange reddish figure was noticed in the frame. It appeared suddenly and did not belong to the rest of the scene. Some believe it could be the grandfather's spirit. Others insist it is simply light, shadow, or a random camera effect. But its timing makes it difficult to ignore. Was someone still there, watching? This image was captured in Picayune, Mississippi, by a surveillance camera. At first, it appears to be a standard frame with light fog, nothing unusual compared to other recordings. But within the mist, a distinct facial shape begins to emerge. It looks too clear, too defined, almost as if someone is staring directly through the fog. This detail quickly drew attention, and the image spread among those interested in paranormal phenomena. Some say it is simply fog, light play, or random patterns forming an illusion. Others disagree, believing it is too precise to be coincidence. Is it just weather, or something looking back? This photograph was taken at a funeral, meant to show those gathered for people who could not attend. At first, it appeared to be a normal image, people standing together, a quiet atmosphere, nothing unusual. Later, when the image was enlarged, a strange face was noticed among the crowd, one that no one remembered being there. It looked unfamiliar, as if it did not belong to anyone present. It could have been a random passerby, motion blur, or a camera artifact. But the timing of the image changes how it feels, quieter, colder, heavier. Sometimes, in photographs like these, the ones who shouldn't be there appear anyway. The author of this image says it was taken on the 8th birthday of her and her twin sister. She explains that they grew up in a house where there was a constant feeling of an evil presence. Over time, the family began calling it Thomas, a name that, according to their mother, came to her in a dream without explanation. After that, strange things reportedly started happening in the house, doors slamming on their own, quiet whispers near the children, and the feeling that someone was standing beside the bed at night. Sometimes, they would wake up and see a dark figure near where they slept. The mother later researched the house and allegedly found old census records mentioning a man named Thomas who once lived there. Even more disturbing, the documents stated he had twin daughters who died at a young age. From that point on, the family began to connect the activity with that former resident and his possible fixation on the children. Eventually, they moved out. On the day they left, the family even performed a small ritual, asking that nothing would follow them. This photograph was taken during that time, at the twins' birthday celebration. According to the author, if the image is examined closely, a strange detail can be seen, something she believes to be the same presence that had haunted them for years. For the family, this is no longer just a childhood photo, but what they consider the final proof that something was with them all along. What do you think was captured here? This frame was recorded by a surveillance system, just a normal camera recording that initially drew no attention. But upon review, a strange detail was noticed. Near one of the windows, a figure resembling a small girl can be seen. She appears to be reaching upward, as if trying to look inside. The author of the footage claims that no one was there at the time. Since then, the clip has sparked debate. Some believe it is just a shadow or a camera glitch. Others think it captured something far more unusual. Who was trying to look inside? This image was taken during a drift racing event while photographing cars on the track. The photographer was simply capturing vehicles in motion, noticing nothing unusual, until later, when reviewing the images. In one frame, inside one of the cars, a strange detail appears, a shape resembling a face or a mask. The photographer contacted the driver, who admitted being disturbed by the image as well. According to him, there was no mask or object inside the car that could explain the shape. So what appeared inside that vehicle? This photograph went viral because of a figure hanging from a tree that looks strange and deeply unsettling. The shape appears thin, twisted, and unnaturally positioned, with what seems like a gaze directed straight into the camera. People began calling it a witch because of its skeletal silhouette and disturbing posture. However, it could just as easily be a person, an object caught at a strange angle, a shadow, or a misleading perspective. Still, local rumors about witchcraft in the area made the image even more disturbing, adding a layer of fear that goes beyond what can be clearly seen. What is really hanging there? Write your thoughts in the comments. These photographs were taken at Alcatraz prison, one of the most famous and eerie locations off the coast of San Francisco. The image was captured by Sheila Sillery Walsh during a visit with her partner, Paul Rice. At first, it seemed like a typical tourist photo, until they looked closer. In the image, taken near a prison block window, a strange figure can be seen, a silhouette of a young girl standing on the other side of the glass. She appears to be looking directly into the camera from what used to be the inmate visiting area. The couple was confused. No one had been there at the time the photo was taken. Yet the dark figure is clearly visible, difficult to explain. The photo quickly sparked debate. Some say it is just light reflection or glare. Others believe it may be something far more unexplainable. Who was standing behind the glass? This apartment has been rented out for several years, but it has developed a disturbing reputation. Locals say that a young woman once died there, and since then, tenants rarely stay long. Some reportedly move out after just a few days. People claim the apartment never feels calm. Those who tried living there often described a strange atmosphere and eventually chose to leave. Neighbors have also shared unusual stories. One evening, a neighbor took a photograph of the building. Later, while reviewing the image, a faint silhouette was noticed near a window. Many believed it resembled the same girl. Since then, the story has only added to the unsettling rumor surrounding the apartment. Who is still there? A photograph taken inside a closet in an ordinary apartment unexpectedly went viral on social media. At first glance, the image looks normal, but attention is immediately drawn to the upper part of the frame. There, a disturbing face can be seen, as if peering out from the darkness. The image sparked intense debate. Even skeptics admit that the moment looks unsettling and difficult to explain as simple lighting or illusion. The argument over what was captured still continues. What is looking out from the dark? This photo was taken by a blogger during a walk near a cemetery. According to local beliefs, being there in the evening or at night is considered unsafe, even unwelcome. Later, while reviewing the image, a strange detail was noticed. On the right side of the frame, the outline of a face appears. Many describe it as ghostly. Because of the shadows and lighting, it creates the unsettling impression that someone is silently warning, "Leave. This is not a place for photos." What was trying to be seen or heard? A young man took a normal selfie and didn't notice anything strange at the time. But later, while examining the photo, he saw a detail off to the side. In the darkness, a pair of glowing eyes could be clearly seen. According to him, no one was there at that moment, which led him to wonder if he had truly been alone. Who was watching from the dark? According to the author, this photograph captured a clear ghost. It was taken at the White Hill Mansion in Burlington, New Jersey. At the moment the picture was taken, nothing unusual was noticed. But later, a strange figure appeared in the image, something the author considers impossible to explain. The photo quickly became a subject of discussion, raising questions about what exactly was caught on camera. What appeared inside that mansion? Several years passed after a woman lost her sister. They had been very close, often driving together, buying their favorite desserts, and enjoying simple moments. One day, She bought her sister's favorite treat again and took a photo inside the car to preserve the moment. Later, while looking at the image, she noticed an unclear silhouette in the back seat, something that reminded her of her sister. This detail deeply affected her and gave the photo a powerful, almost mysterious meaning tied to memory and loss. Was it just imagination, or a final sign? This image came from a trail camera in the woods, a device that automatically takes photos when it detects movement, usually animals like deer. The owner says there are strange details in this case. The camera was placed deep in the forest and should only trigger on motion. According to him, no people could have been there, at least not without his knowledge. That is why the appearance of an unclear object in the image raised suspicion. It seemed as if the camera captured something unusual, possibly even a figure resembling a ghostly silhouette, since the motion sensor was triggered. What moved through that forest? Lauren explained that she was staying at the historic Wawona Hotel in Yosemite National Park and took a photo while standing near a window. At first, the image seemed completely normal, but later, she noticed a strange detail in the upper corner of the glass, a dark shape standing out against the reflections. The next day, she asked in the lobby whether the place was considered haunted. An employee replied that some guests really do believe in local legends, but after seeing the image, suggested it was probably a spiderweb. However, Lauren insists that the windows were completely clean at the time, and she remembers that too clearly to dismiss what she saw as dirt or a web. Because of that, the photograph remains an unsolved mystery for her, caught somewhere between an ordinary explanation and something much harder to understand. What do you think appeared in the glass? The owner of the image explained that this photograph was taken in a friend's house and went unnoticed for years. In the room, a television can be seen turned off, the screen is dark, and the power indicator is not glowing. But if viewed closely, the outline of a face can be seen in the upper part of the screen. The family claims nobody recognizes who it could belong to, and according to them, no strangers were in the room at that moment. The strange detail was only discovered years later while looking through old family photographs again. People were also disturbed by an unsettling coincidence. The man visible in the image passed away several years later from a heart attack. Although no one claims the events are connected, the photo became even more disturbing because of it. Whose face appeared in the screen? This photo was taken by Edward Nash from Edinburgh. He claims that at the moment the image was captured, nobody was inside the house. No people, no movement, only light slipping through a small gap in the curtains. He simply wanted to photograph the beautiful lighting inside the room. But in the final image, a strange detail appeared. Within the mixture of light and shadows, a figure can be seen wearing what looks like a hood or a long cloak. It appears completely still and out of place, as if standing in the room, even though according to the author, nobody was there. Edinburgh is already famous for its ghost legends and stories of old buildings that seem to remember more than they should, which made this image immediately spark unsettling discussions. Some believe it is only light passing through curtains or a coincidence of shadows. Others call it nothing more than an optical illusion created by the camera. But what was really standing there? In a photo taken by Louise Farrell during a walk through a historic location, what first appears is an ordinary landscape of an old cemetery. But later, while reviewing the images, she noticed something unusual. Among the graves, there appears to be a human-like figure walking through the scene. Its outline resembles that of a soldier. Some believe it could simply be light, fog, or a coincidence created by stones and shadows. Others note that the brain naturally completes familiar shapes, especially in places with such a heavy history. Who was walking among the graves? This photograph was taken on the property of a house and later sparked countless rumors. That night, the girl heard a strange humming sound coming from the sky, something that frightened her and left her with a strong sense of unease. Later, when she looked at the photo, her attention was drawn to something unusual in the sky, a massive dark shape that she did not see as an ordinary object, but as the silhouette of some enormous creature. She told her parents about what she had seen, but they reacted skeptically, suggesting it could have been light distortion, clouds, or an image anomaly. Still, for the girl, the photograph continues to create a deep feeling of fear and something impossible to explain. What was hovering above that house? Write your thoughts in the comments. This old vintage photograph was discovered inside the grandfather's house after his death. The image was taken in a familiar living room. Near an armchair, a shadowy figure seems to be standing quietly. The unsettling detail is that the house had already been empty. The grandmother insists it is nothing more than light exposure and old film damage, which are common flaws in vintage photography. And rationally, that explanation makes sense. But there is something about the shape that feels too human. The family cannot help but notice how much it resembles the man who once lived there, the grandfather himself. Because of that, the photo no longer feels like a simple camera error. Instead, it feels like one final unexpected appearance. Was it only damaged film, or one last visit? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was taken inside the old Crescent Hotel and Spa, a location often called one of the most haunted hotels in America. According to local legends, shadows of former guests are still seen wandering the halls, especially those who supposedly never truly left. In one corridor photograph, a small figure resembling a young girl can be seen standing at the far end of the hallway. Her features are blurry and unclear, as if she is not fully solid, or not fully part of this world. The strange part is that the corridor was believed to be empty at the time. The hotel itself was nearly vacant, and that wing was reportedly closed to guests. So who was standing there? What do you think was captured in that hallway? Write your thoughts in the comments. They were going through an old family photo album when they came across a picture of their mother in her younger years. At first, it made everyone laugh. The hairstyle looked unusual, the fashion was outdated, and the image felt like a typical snapshot from another era. But then their attention shifted to the right side of the photo. Behind the young woman's shoulder, a pale face can be seen. It looks disturbingly unnatural, with an empty, almost inhuman stare. The dark hollows where the eyes should be make the image especially unsettling, as if the figure is staring without truly having eyes at all. No one in the family can explain who this person could have been. Their mother does not remember anyone standing next to her when the photo was taken. Even more strangely, she keeps this picture separated from the rest of the family photos, almost as if she does not want it mixed with ordinary memories. Who was standing behind her that day? What do you think this was? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was taken at a funeral in Mexico and quickly spread across social media. sparking intense discussion. A grieving mother was burying her son, and later, while looking through the images from that painful day, she noticed something unusual. Near the coffin, there appears to be a dark, blurry mass, something she believes was not just a camera artifact, but a final sign from her son. To her, the shape feels deeply personal, almost like a silent farewell before leaving this world behind. Others argue that it could simply be a flash reflection, fabric caught in motion, or an optical distortion caused by the camera lens. But for the mother, this frame became both the heaviest and most meaningful memory from that day. Was this just an illusion, or something more? Write your thoughts in the comments. A man was preparing to leave the house and took a quick selfie to send to his children. Minutes later, one of them replied with a disturbing message, "Dad, look at the legs behind you." When he zoomed in, he saw them, pale, semi-transparent legs standing just behind him. According to the man, no one else was home at the time. Who do you think was standing there? Write your opinion below. They visited the Unitarian Church graveyard in Todmorden, a place that feels unsettling even during the day and disturbingly alive at night. A man took several photographs of old gravestones and deep shadows between the trees. Only later did he notice something strange. One headstone bore the name Sarah Agnes, a woman who died in her 50s. Standing near that grave, a female figure appeared in the photograph, misty, pale, and unmistakably human in shape. That night, the man said, the group felt watched. Equipment reacted constantly. The air felt heavy. No one was smoking, and the night was warm. Breath vapor was impossible. Yet the mist appeared. After seeing the photo, he became certain of one thing. They were not alone in that graveyard. Who do you think appeared beside the grave? A woman sat on her couch and decided to take a few selfies with her dog. The photos seemed calm and ordinary at first glance, but while scrolling through them, one image stopped her cold. In that single frame, a hand rests on her shoulder. It was not her own, and no one else was in the house. The hand appears semi-transparent, unnatural, with fingers slightly bent, as if someone was standing behind her and barely making contact. She later admitted that panic set in immediately. She was completely alone when the photo was taken. Whose hand do you think touched her shoulder? A man shared a photograph that still troubles him to this day. The picture shows his young granddaughter calmly cutting vegetables in the kitchen, completely unaware of anything unusual. But in the shadows to the right, a faint silhouette can be seen, a figure strikingly similar to his late wife. The shape appears to lean slightly toward the child, as though watching her with the same care and tenderness she once showed in life. The man believes that at that moment, his granddaughter was not alone. He is convinced the figure represents her grandmother, standing silently as a guardian. The longer he studies the image, the stronger that belief becomes. Was this a trick of shadow, or a loving presence watching over her? Three years ago, Hannah Butler took a photograph during a ghost walk along Hessel Foreshore in East Riding of Yorkshire. At the time, it seemed like an ordinary snapshot. Only later did something unsettling reveal itself. In the image, a dark-haired girl dressed in white can be seen pressed closely against a tree. No one else present that night noticed a child there. No children were reported nearby. The girl appeared only in the photograph. Hannah now lives many miles away in Kent, but she says the girl has never truly left her. She appears in recurring dreams and lingers in Hannah's thoughts, returning again and again without explanation. The image gives the impression not of menace, but of quiet longing, as if the figure was searching for connection, for companionship. Some believe it could be the spirit of a lonely orphan, unwilling to remain unseen. What do you think was captured in that moment? Around 20 years ago, a woman took a casual photo of her husband and son peacefully playing a video game together. It was meant to be an ordinary family memory, nothing more. But something in the image never made sense. On the left side of the frame, a dense, dark figure appears, sharply outlined and seemingly standing close to them. It does not blend into the room and does not resemble any object, reflection, or shadow. No similar shape appeared in any other photograph taken that day. There was nothing in the room that could explain its presence. Since then, the family has questioned what may have entered the frame for a single instant, a camera error, a trick of light, or something else entirely. What do you think was standing there? This photograph was taken inside a closed restaurant. According to witnesses, the building had been completely empty. Yet when the image was reviewed, a dark silhouette could be seen appearing between stacked boxes. It didn't resemble a normal shadow. The shape looked almost like a person standing there. Employees have sometimes reported hearing strange sounds in the building even when no one was inside. Was the camera capturing a simple illusion, or someone who never truly left? This image was taken inside a normal home. It is not a restaurant or hotel. There was no butler in the house, and no one remembers seeing a man wearing a bow tie that day. Yet in the photograph, a dark figure can be seen standing in the background. The face cannot be clearly distinguished, almost as if the figure was not meant to be recognized. It appears as though someone had entered the room silently, only to leave behind a single image. Who was the man in the bow tie? This photo was taken in 2007 at a wedding. In the image, the woman's husband, who has since passed away, can be seen dancing with her mother. For years, the woman felt that something about the photograph was strange. Eventually, she began to notice a dark figure in the background. It seemed as though the shape was watching them. At times, she even wondered if that mysterious presence had somehow taken her husband away years later. The photograph has never been fully explained. Who was watching them that night? A serious accident occurred at this location on June 15, 2017. The woman involved in the crash died 2 days later. Friends who visited the road took a photo. In the image, a family friend can be seen sitting in the front passenger seat of the car, but something else appears in the back seat. When the image is examined carefully, a faint figure can be seen sitting there, a shape that resembles the woman who later passed away. The figure doesn't look like a normal shadow. It almost seems to be watching. Had she already returned before leaving this world? This photograph was taken about 15 years ago. According to the owner, his brother had taken the picture using a regular camera. Later, while reviewing the image, something strange was noticed behind him. In the background, a pale white anomaly appeared, something that didn't resemble a normal light reflection or camera defect. It almost looked like a ghostly presence standing behind him. Even today, the author cannot explain what appeared in that moment. What do you think it was? This event took place at Willoit Cemetery in Ohio. Participants had gathered to dedicate a new gravestone, and historical reenactors were present. Two of them posed for a photograph. But in the background, through an open window of an empty building, something unexpected appeared. A faint figure resembling a woman can be seen sitting near the window, watching. The image was later slightly cropped and contrast adjusted, but no other changes were made. The photo eventually became known as the Willoit Ghost. Who was the woman in the window? This photo was taken at a small gathering attended by only 3 people. Everyone present clearly remembers that there was no bald man among them. However, the photograph shows something strange, a bald head appearing in the frame as if attached to an invisible body. It doesn't resemble a mannequin or object. It looks disturbingly real. So what exactly appeared in the photograph? This photograph was taken on a farm. On the right side of the image, a small ghost-like figure can be seen standing near the ground. According to the family who lived there, the great-grandmother had always claimed she could see this spirit around the property. Despite its strange presence, the figure never caused harm. Over time it became almost a familiar presence on the farm, mysterious, but strangely accepted as part of the land. For generations, the story remained within the family. Who, or what, was quietly appearing in their photographs? This photograph was taken near Albany, New York, during Easter weekend. Inside the house, no one smoked. However, when the photo was taken, a strange anomaly appeared in the image. The shape looks like a thin, twisting form floating in the air, something that resembles smoke, yet does not behave like it. No one in the room noticed anything unusual at the moment the picture was taken. Even today, the origin of the strange shape remains unknown. What appeared in that quiet house? The owner of this photograph said the image was sent to him by a friend who was deeply disturbed by what he saw. In the photo, a door behind 2 girls is slightly open. At first glance, the image looks completely normal. But when the picture is examined more closely, something unsettling becomes visible in the doorway. A strange face appears in the darkness behind the girls. The expression looks unnatural, almost as if something is silently standing there and watching them. The shape of the face seems distorted, its features barely visible in the shadows. It gives the disturbing impression that something was hiding behind the door at the exact moment the photo was taken. What was standing behind them? These 2 photographs were taken only seconds apart. One was taken with a flash, the other without. In the darker image, a strange figure appears standing near the closet door. The shape resembles a woman. In the brighter photo, the same figure can still be seen, although less clearly. The presence looks almost solid, as if someone invisible had been standing there the entire time. Neither person remembers anyone else being in the room. So who was standing beside the closet? This photograph was taken in Brittany, France, near the photographer's home, at the end of December. On the right side of the image, a strange form can be seen. The shape resembles something almost human, something faint and ghost-like. The weather that day was windy, but there was no fog or mist that could explain the appearance. Behind the person in the photograph stands a menhir, an ancient standing stone often associated with prehistoric rituals. The image was later sent for analysis. So far, no one has been able to explain the mysterious figure. What do you think appeared in the photograph? This event happened almost 3 years ago. The author of the story said he hesitated for a long time before sharing what happened. One night he was talking with a friend on FaceTime. During the call, he eventually fell asleep. The next morning, when they met in person, his friend asked a strange question. Where had he gone during the night? The author was confused. He was certain he had slept the entire time. But his friend insisted that during the call he had seen him walking around the house. To prove it, the friend explained that he had taken several live photos during the call using an iPhone. When they reviewed the images, something disturbing appeared. A strange shape resembling a face could be seen in the frame. The discovery frightened both of them. Later they returned to the house and searched for anything that could explain the shape, furniture, reflections, objects, but nothing matched the figure captured in the images. Unfortunately, only a screenshot remains today. The original live photo was lost. In the first image, the original photo is shown. In the second image, the author enhanced the details to make the shape more visible. To this day, the event remains completely unexplained. What appeared in that FaceTime call? This photograph had been stored in a family album for many years. In the image appears a great-great-grandfather, along with his family and several friends. The photo was taken in a small village where they once lived. Years later, the village slowly became abandoned. People began moving away, and some residents died under strange circumstances. Older locals later spoke about frightening things that had happened there at night. Stories spread about a dark presence that supposedly wandered through the village. According to the rumors, it sometimes approached homes where children lived. Some children, people whispered, simply never woke up in the morning. Doctors at the time blamed illness, poor health, and the difficult living conditions. But villagers believed something far darker was responsible. They claimed to have seen a tall dark silhouette moving silently between houses at night. When the photograph was recently examined again, something unusual appeared. A large dark shape can clearly be seen in the background, a figure that does not seem to belong to the group in the photo. Perhaps it is only a shadow, a flaw in the old film, or a trick of light. But knowing the stories from that village raises an unsettling possibility. What if the photograph accidentally captured the very thing people once feared? The sister of the woman in this photograph shared the image online, hoping someone could explain what appeared in it. Her sister had passed away 10 years earlier, and strangely, this photograph was taken on the very same day she died. Behind the woman in the image, a white figure can clearly be seen standing directly behind her. At the moment the photograph was taken, witnesses insist that no one else was standing nearby. The figure appears calm and still, almost protective. Some family members believe the image may show an angel. They believe it may have appeared at the exact moment her soul was being taken. Was it a coincidence, or something far more mysterious?